Hello guys, the coin here. Once again, I'm back to give you an update on what I see the charts are doing and the BTC chart. So once again, uh, after that, after that pump and dump, pump and flash crash, we started to recover. We went to recover a little bit. We went down. We went up to this trend line. We dropped around to 9376. So we're having another support in here, just like we did at 11 o'clock when we dumped into here as well. So we're having kind of a support here. Yeah, but then we start to dump here. Now we're getting back up, but once again now it's having a very difficult time. I just put here this trend line. I'm going to mark it as another color. It's going to be like that. So to say that this is support, this is resistance here, and yeah, once again, like I said, it's crucial for Bitcoin to stay above this trend line in here, and it's failing. If we take a look at the stock market, we're kind of seeing the same thing. So Bitcoin got topped out at around this level here. That's what the Dow Jones future basically did as well. Dumped, it went a little bit up, it dumped even further. The dump this time wasn't that steep on the BTC market. Once again, it's finding resistance up here. This time it didn't even come up, at least until now. Let's check out what Dow Jones is doing. So the Dow Jones is it's respecting this trend line in here as well. Went a little above it, so it became support, becoming resistance, and now it's clearly being resistance. So that is what actually is going on with BTC as well. So like I said, it's starting to look quite obvious that Bitcoin is trying real hard to get above this trend line in here, but it's starting to fail a lot. As of right now, it's clearly failing to get up there. So like I said, guys, I don't see anything bullish in these charts that I'm showing you right now. So that is what it is. Let me just check in here. Coinbase. The charts vary a little bit from another because well, some go steeper in the correction, some will go a little bit higher, but that trend line is actually the most faithful I could actually done. So let me check how I did it in here. If I respected all the lines. No, this was more roughly one. But like we can see as well in here, I made this broadening wedge in here as well. So, and this one is still a little bit higher above the trend line. But it's like I said, the trend line that I created in here was not like I did on the other one. I didn't respect the lows or the highs. You know, it should be a little bit out. I should have raised it. But that's why I have different charts, so that can tell me maybe a different story. But you know, like I said, you know, I'm not seeing any different stories in this one. Once again, this trend line did not. That one, the other one, I'm clearly following the lows to the tick. That's not what I'm doing in here. That's why it is a bit higher. BTC USD. But once again, that's the reason why I have different charts and I have different kind of indicators. Look, this is more faithful. So touch this low, it touched this low. This low was actually a little bit higher, on the contrary to what happened to the other chart. I trended this low as well, so this trend line is actually more representative, so it's more accurate. And that's why I like to play around with a lot of charts as well, so that they might tell me a different story, because you know, from chart to chart, so FTX chart says one thing, the Coinbase charts says another thing, and so on and so on. All exchanges, you know, they have little derivations from the price, you know, the wicks. So, you know, I try to map it as I see, and that's why I use different charts to see if I see anything different than on the other platforms, on the other trading exchanges. So, like I said, guys, this is the most accurate one that I've been doing right now. It has been following the lows, the peaks in here. So it even connected with this one. So this is the best trend line that I can do, because it's following the lows to the tick. So now it looks like we are starting to see resistance up here at 9,432. Stock market is I guess is going down as well, so that is the catalyst for the price of Bitcoin to be going down. And once again, you know, BTC not finding a way to get above that trend line is not bullish at all. Not bullish at all whatsoever. DGI. Yep, Dow Jones is actually starting to correct a little bit further. So that was the opening here. So it opened lower. It filled the gap. So after that gap was filled, I guess, yeah, I don't know if it looks like we want to continue to go down. The futures market doesn't have that, because the futures market is basically it's not open 24/7, but kind of like Bitcoin at weekdays. So once again, it found support in here. It's having trouble to go back to resistance. So let me check as well. Investing. what the numbers are in the futures market. So the Dow Jones is currently losing 0.23%. The S&P is losing 0.11%. The Nasdaq is up 0.16%. So that is the story. The dollar index is going higher. So let me check out the forex since we are doing this. Euro USD. Yep, the euro is plummeting as well. I guess this is the trend that we have been seeing the last years. You know, since the euro dollar pair was added about around 2000 when the euro was created. So even in here we can start to see a trend. So the euro is losing value to the dollar year by year, like we can see in this trend line here. It's having a hard time to go back to the trend line. The trend line is clearly on the way down. So once again, guys, that's what I'm seeing here from the charts, and once again, I don't see anything bullish about this, despite of what all the moon boys actually want to see. I do understand, because for the longest time, when I've been into crypto for a while now, for a long time actually, maybe 10 to 12 years or more. And I was actually a moon boy, but then I started to see the reality. I started to see the problems that BTC has. I started to see, you know, other projects that might really be having a future, you know, because in having a future in the cryptocurrency space, you need to have scalability. You need to have the ability to have a lot of transactions, and once again, my faith is not very high on Bitcoin or BTC because of the scalability issues. The blockchain network has been stale for about 3 or 4 years. They added SegWit. That's what the dev team actually did, which is actually not a good thing as well. And that's it. You know, the block size continues the same. Satoshi said it was kept temporarily. They never changed it. I don't believe they will ever do that because it's against their philosophy or whatsoever. The guys from Blockstream and Adam Back, he doesn't want to raise the block size. He doesn't want to raise transactions because he's actually trying to move away from Bitcoin. That's why he created the Lightning Network for off-chain transactions. But off-chain transactions has nothing to do with Bitcoin. You know, they hyped it when it was first kind of released, because it has been in development for a long time, but nobody's using it. Nobody wants to use it because first, the fees are not as low as they say they are as well. So, and once again, if you use the Lightning Network, you may lose your Bitcoins, like a guy that was actually trying the Lightning Network out. You know, he closed the channel, you know, by mistake, and he lost his Bitcoin. So it's not reliable, and once again, he will not be able to recover his Bitcoin because he closed the channel. It was an off-chain transaction. Everything was done off-chain, so there is no record of that transaction on the blockchain, on the Bitcoin blockchain. So yeah, you see, it's a failure. It's a failure, guys, and unfortunately, these guys are so set in their ways that they don't want to bring innovation to Bitcoin, because once again, BTC has been in the space for over 11 years. So if they would have done these little changes that Satoshi actually wanted to bring to Bitcoin, you know, the fees would be much lower. or at least lower than they actually are. You know, the fees would be lower. It would be very easy to transact in Bitcoin, because we have to remember, or I guess most of the new people don't even remember, that Bitcoin used to have zero confirmations. So what does that mean? That means that in about 4 to 5 years ago, before SegWit, if you would send a Bitcoin to anyone else, you know, because there was zero conf in the protocol, that person would receive their Bitcoin almost immediately. Kind of what happened to BSV, because that's why everybody that transacts BSV from user to user, if you send it, in about 2 to 5 seconds, your Bitcoin is on the other user's wallet. And that used to be in BTC as well, but the guys removed it because they said it's not safe because of the double spend and stuff like that. Well, the double spend problem was real as well, but it didn't have nothing to do with ZeroConf, you know, because BSV has ZeroConf since the beginning, and they never had any problems with it. The only difference is the only difference is that, yeah, BSV is hardly to get from exchanges because they demand 20 confirmations, while BTC, while still having a double spend problem, they only demand from 1 to 3 confirmations. So that is the reason why people have to wait longer to get their BSV off exchanges, because of the confirmation time, or especially if you want to send it to them, because when they send it to you, all they have to do is to process it, and you receive it right away. That is mainly the difference. Bitcoin has from 1 to 3 confirmations if you want to send it to them. BSV has from 16 to 20 confirmations. That's completely asinine, you know. Because once again, what is their reasoning? Yeah, because Bitcoin or BTC has a lot of hash power. BSV doesn't have a lot of hash power, so there can be a kind of a double spend attack where this is already proven to be bullshit, but they continue to have that stuff implemented, you know. But yeah, guys, this is what's going on. And yeah, as long as these guys that crippled Bitcoin, the guys from Blockstream, the guys from the guy at the Adam Beck guy, that was the founder of Blockstream, is the leading dev of Bitcoin. As long as these guys are in charge, you know, I see absolutely no future whatsoever with BTC. And once again, I really don't believe that after this crash that is going on the stock market and in the crypto market, I don't believe it will even survive because of these flaws. And once again, it's not that I'm a hater, because I used Bitcoin in its prime, you know. I started to use Bitcoin around 2011, 2012, and like I said, back then there wasn't that problem of waiting too much time to get your Bitcoin, because you have zero confirmation. I still remember I sent some Bitcoin to a kind of a blackjack, a gambling game, and they got the coins immediately because ZeroConf was in place. They didn't even have to wait to one confirmation, or I guess one confirmation was needed, but it got through right away. But you have to remember, this is all gone. ZeroConf is no longer possible on the BTC blockchain, because they said the dev core guys, they said it wasn't safe. It wasn't safe. Bullshit, man. In order for people to get their coins quicker, you know, they had the ZeroConf. That was the thing about Bitcoin, you know. You know, the issues with drawing money weren't there, you know, for people to wait about, I don't know, 1 hour, 4 hours, one day, in some cases a week, to get their Bitcoins. Come on, depending on the congestion of the network. Bitcoin didn't have that problem back then, you know. And that's what these younger people don't understand, and say that, yeah, Bitcoin cannot go away or can never go away. Come on, guys. Its technology, you know, has been outpaced by most of the other serious projects that are out there, you know. I don't have much trust in Ethereum because it has the same problems that Bitcoin has. It can't scale. That's why CryptoKitties, they had a lot of problems with it, and they have not fixed the situation yet. It looks like they're going to bring Ethereum 2.0, which supposedly is going to fix it. We will have to wait and see, but I don't believe it because as long as they don't fix the problem that Bitcoin has, and they admitted they had that problem before, as long as they don't fix the scalability problems that they have to implement bigger blocks. I know that they're moving to staking right now, which kind of the beginning of the protocol was already updated a while ago. They have to have bigger blocks so that they have to have bigger transactions because the Ethereum blockchain is congestion as well because they're capped, they're limited into the transactions that they can make. They're still fast. They are still fast, but they can't process big enough blocks. So the transactions that they are allowed to do are limited, and that's why CryptoKitties failed. But yeah, people. It looks like people instead of making the research. Look, I'm not a technical guy. I don't know how to code. I don't know any of that. But still, I do understand what the other people talking about. And once again, when you start to see that there is congestion problems in Ethereum, EOS, TRX, and whatever, that's why I don't trust these projects because I know a couple of developers that actually tried or were trying to do an app on the Ethereum blockchain, on the EOS blockchain, on TRX, and some others, and they failed. They failed. They tried to do it, right now from the top of my mind, I can there is a guy that actually built an exchange on the BSV blockchain using BSV exclusively, and he tried to build it on Ethereum. He tried to build it on EOS, but what he told me and what he's telling the space is that the other blockchains are prototypes. You can't do anything. You can't develop this stuff like he developed it on BSV because they don't have the capabilities. EOS can't scale, Ethereum can't scale. As far as I understand it, TRX can scale as well. So in regards to Ethereum, it will only work if they found out the scalability issue with Ethereum 2.0. That's the only way that Ethereum is going to outlast Bitcoin because many are already saying that it will rise in price. It will be much higher than Bitcoin. Yes, I do understand it can because of what the protocol was all about. With smart contracts and everything like that. It really was a true innovation. But if Ethereum can find a way to escape its its scalability issues, it will be as useless as Bitcoin. And we have to understand that they have a lot of coins, a lot of tokens are on the Ethereum platform, and if they don't fix these problems, they will not be able to continue to create them. That's just it. I know they produce gas to culminate the fees and everything like that, but it's like I said, if you don't have a scalability fix for all this, this is only temporary because the network will continue to get congested. It will get full, and that is the problem that Ethereum has. That is the problem that BTC has because the symptoms of all this is higher fees. Why do you believe that Bitcoin has higher fees from time to time? It's because when the fees are high because there are a lot of transactions that are stuck on the mempool, and we have to understand that only 7 transactions per second are possible in a 2 megabyte block. So if more people actually try to or actually transact in Bitcoin, because there are so many of them and they have to stay on the mempool, the fees will rise because of that. And this shouldn't be a problem. Once again, this shouldn't be a problem. If they didn't have capped the blocks to 2 megabyte blocks, 5 or 10 or 15 or 100 megabyte blocks would handle it very capable. It did, and they wouldn't have the high fees that they're having, you know. That's Look, this is all my reasoning, man. Like I said, I'm not a hating guy. It's not that I hate the crypto space. It has nothing to do with that. I love the crypto space. I believe that, yeah, you know, when I first heard around Bitcoin, because I heard Bitcoin before I started to, you know, to look into it. But when I started to use the wallet and stuff like that, I understood immediately the potential, you know, to send money, to send Bitcoin from person to person without relying on a third party or a bank. I saw it right away. But unfortunately, you know, with the space and the people that actually took over the Bitcoin protocol, they didn't add anything to it. Good. They only retracted. Because you have to understand something. Um, if Vitalik Buterin actually wanted to build Ethereum on top of Bitcoin, but the only reason why he didn't do it is because he was afraid that anybody can actually, or some kind of a dev core could change the protocol. And this is a little bit ironic, because let's remember, Ethereum, the original protocol of Ethereum was Ethereum Classic, you know, but they had a problem programming the Ethereum Classic, because they built smart contracts, and then there was some kind of a bug, and the funds of someone that had a lot in Ethereum were locked into a smart contract, if I'm not mistaken. So they had to come up with Ethereum. So they had to change the protocol. That's the ironic part. So Vitalik Buterin didn't want to build Ethereum on Bitcoin, because he was afraid that somebody could change the protocol. But ironically, when he created Ethereum Classic, and the other guy, because there were two guys that actually were the creators of Ethereum or ETC. So they fucked up in the code, or that they did. So they had to create Ethereum, a fork of ETC. So they had to change the protocol for that. And once again, now with Ethereum 2.0, because we have to remember, Ethereum was proof of work, now they're migrating to proof of stake. This is a third protocol change that they're doing. So that in itself is also very problematic, because, you know, because if they would have figured out the scalability problem since the beginning, this wouldn't be an issue. When Vitalis built Ethereum, besides of the problems with the code that they had, he wasn't smart enough to see that he would need to deal with the scalability issues, which he only acknowledged the past year, and that's why Ethereum 2.0 is being built. But yeah, they changed the protocol again, so they have to move from ETC to ETH. So they had to change the protocol one time, and now they're going to move from Ethereum, that is proof of work, or that is already started to migrate, from Ethereum proof of stake. So it's two protocols that they already, two times they had to change the protocols. So what will happen in the future if they come to another problem? Do they have to wait another year to fix it, to fix the code and change the protocol? Look, this is not stability whatsoever. You know, BTC or Bitcoin didn't need it to do all this. All they had to do is to increase the block size, because I understand why the block size limit was there, so that nobody could exploit the network, especially in the beginning where there was not much hashing power going on. Somebody could exploit it. But since 4 or 5 years ago, they could have done it a long time ago, and went smoothly. All they had to do is to do a little fork, a soft fork like they call it, to change the block size limit. You know, so changing the block size limit means that you can do more transactions per second. So, but like I said, you know, the developers, the Bitcoin developers, they don't want to know anything about it, because um, back then, in about 4 or 5 years ago, there were a lot of advocates that wanted to implement bigger blocks to Bitcoin, but unfortunately they got silenced and censored on Reddit, and Adam Back played this part, and other mods that had to deal with it. So the people that actually wanted for Bitcoin to scale with bigger block size, they got silenced, and then a kind of a voting actually was going on, and yeah, they came through with it. But that's not what the community actually wanted. So they actually hijacked the opinion of the people, and they continue the protocol how it is, stale, with no future, because it has no future, guys. That is a reality, and that's what I'm trying to explain you. And if you disagree with me, it's okay. I can handle that. But at least do a little bit of research, and know what this is all about. Scalability is important, because the future of a blockchain is all about scalability, guys, and it's economical incentive base. Because without scalability, there is no viable blockchain, and unfortunately, 99% of the projects, of the crypto projects that are on exchanges and everything else, they will fail miserably because they cannot scale. And if you want to serve the population of the world, you need to scale, because you need bigger blocks, so you can have higher transactions for everybody in the world to be a part of. But it looks like people still don't understand this. And yeah, if you want to build applications on a blockchain, you have to have big blocks, you have to have big transactions, so that you can actually have a continuously flow of data going on without any problems. And once again, right now, the only blockchain that is able to do that already has this capability since the protocol upgrade, is BSV. In regards of blockchain technology, BSV is the only blockchain that is capable of handling the world population, because they scaled their blocks to, it's not forever, it can't be forever, they have to have kind of a number, but a high number. They can have 5 gigabyte blocks. They can have 1 terabyte blocks, theoretically. So what do you think will serve the population of the world? Big blocks, so that people can actually have a lot of transactions, or smaller blocks? We already starting to see what's happening here for a long time. Remember in 2017, 2018, when the transactions in BTC, were as high as they have ever been. Why was that? Well, it was because everybody started to wanted to transact Bitcoin around, and yeah, if you don't pay if you don't pay if you didn't pay a priority fee, you would be screwed. You would have to wait. Some people had to wait a day, and others had to wait a week until the mempool unconfirmed data was back to normal again, and that continues to happen. That's why these peaks in the Bitcoin transactions continue to happen. It's all because of that. And once again, I'm not a technical guy, but I understand all this, and this is the reality. If you want to have a blockchain that is actually capable of doing whatever they want, they have to have not not unlimited scale, because that is impossible as well. There is a number, like BSV is in comas. Like I said, they can do a 1 terabyte block, a 10 terabyte block, a one henta or whatever what it is called. It is possible, it is possible, and for the other blockchains to succeed, they have to have this capability, because if they hit the ceiling once again, like Ethereum hit the ceiling, BTC hit the ceiling, they have to scale. This is what it's all about, and that's why, there are many crypto projects out there like Tron and everything else that say they have the partnerships. It's all very, very beautiful to have a lot of partnerships, but if you can't onboard all of the people that actually want to get in, with fast transactions, low fees, these people will not want to come, and they will only rely on a blockchain that can do all this, because even the private banking is already building the blockchains and stuff like that, and they have the same issue. They have all the same issue. If the Fed coin is really actually going to come out, and it looks like it is ready, so the only issue is to understand if the Fed coin has the scale to do it, if they have big blocks and big transactions capabilities. Because if they don't have that, they will fail miserably. But only the people that really know what Bitcoin is all about and how that are technically gifted, they know the code, they know how it works. Because once again, if let's say that the Fed coin is going to launch, and if the Fed coin has not the ability to deal with all the 350 million people that it has in its country, it will fail miserably. Because if the blockchain is getting congested just like Bitcoin is, and if they have to wait a long time to make transactions, and if they have to pay higher fees, man, it's not going to work as well. Because there needs to be a flow of money, and the flow of money needs to flow normally without any congestions, And once again, that is the biggest problem that Bitcoin has, besides of the economic model, because I know we all understand that miners need to make money, but the miners, they are at a point that they can't rely on the block reward, and the only way that they can continuously make money is if the block size is lifted, if they have more transactions, if Bitcoin has more capability of transactions, and if you put more data to the blockchain, which once again the core devs, they don't want to do any of that. And that's why I see the demise of Bitcoin. It's not because I'm against them. I'm just taking a look at the technicalities and taking a look at the economic model, because hodling is not an economic model. It's good to save money, but if you can't do anything with it and just are just expecting for it to price to rise just because the price has risen, that's not the right approach as well. It has to have a sound economic model, because if things continue like that, and once again, I believe that Bitcoin is going down, and what will happen? The miners will earn less and less money. Most of them will have to turn the rigs off. The mining difficulty has went up. The hash rate is starting to lose again, because it's harder to mine Bitcoin again because of the difficulty. If the price dumps to around 8, 7, 6, or 5, they won't be able to make money at all. Of course, the difficulty will adjust in about 15 days, but the revenue will continue to go down, so they will have to continue to shut down mining rigs. The miners will have to continue to shut down. And yeah, if Bitcoin fails to goes below 5K, let's say about 3 or 4 or 3K, they will be even having a harder time. So they have to continue to shut down. They have to continue to sell their miners, because they're not profitable. So this is the problem here. This is the problem here. And people just don't understand this. And people need to understand this to see and to understand if or what makes a blockchain successful. And what makes a blockchain successful is for it to scale first, so that they can bring on board a lot of transactions, a lot of people, a lot of data, a lot of dApps, a lot of whatever. That is what it is needed. Because even if you have lower fees, if you have millions and millions of Bitcoin transactions per second, man, you don't have to worry about a block reward. you can make a living on the transactions itself. That's what it's all about. But yeah, I guess I talked enough about this. I don't even know if anyone is actually watching. Yeah, I guess there's someone watching in here. I'm going to work, but I thought I'd stop by to say hello. Hey, Dinot, you, how you doing? Technical analysis isn't everything? No. That's why I'm saying, I'm not only bringing the technical analysis, Dinot, you. I'm bringing the economic model. I'm bringing the mining revenue, which continues to go down. I'm talking about the mining hash rate, which has been decreasing. I'm talking about the mining difficulty. I'm not only talking about technical analysis. I'm talking about everything. That's what I'm talking about, man. I'm not only focusing myself on technical analysis. I'm giving you the economic model. I'm giving you the economic system, and clearly the Bitcoin mining system is failing because the miners are not making money how they used to because of the block reward, because the price hasn't jumped up. Because you have to understand something. Right now, for the miners to make money, Bitcoin needs to be above 16K. That's the only way how miners are actually making money, or would be making money since the halving. Bitcoin price would need to be right now at 16K for all of the miners to make money. And since the price is not doing that, they're suffering. They have to turn their miners down. The mining difficulty just went up. The miners will continue to lose money. And as the price continues to dump, they will lose more money and they will have to shut down. That's what I'm talking about. Hello. When will it collapse? It will be, if it will, maybe after elections. No, guys, I really don't believe that it will take that long because, this here, I know you are covering. Yeah, man, that's what I'm talking about. I'm just not taking a look at technical analysis itself. I'm taking a lot. I'm analyzing the economic model that Bitcoin is on the Bitcoin mining revenue. And once again, I can show you all the data. Another little piece of data that connects the dots. I'm not just focusing on technical analysis alone. I'm focusing on everything, on everything that I can, so that I can try to make the evaluation, the best evaluation that I can do. So let me just show in here what I'm talking about once again. I don't know if you already saw that. Okay, let's take a look at the miners' revenue. This is the miners' revenue. This is a 1 year. I will show you the all-time high. This is what we are talking about. This was the money that the miners made in December 16th, 2013. This is the all-time high, which coincidences with Bitcoin's all-time high as well. These people made $50.475 million in mining revenue. And we can see that it is declining, Take a look at here. In July it peaked. Then we have the 19 million, and I believe that this, when it went down here, was when the block reward was actually cut down. This is a problem, guys. I know that many of you maybe don't see it or don't understand. That's what I'm talking about. Take a look. That's the May, June, July. Well, I can't remember anymore when the block reward was made. When the block halving happened. So take a look. On May 6th, they made 20 million. After that, it had a big dump in here. May 17th, I guess this coincides as well with the stock market crash and the Bitcoin crash. Look at how much money they did. Look at how much money they're losing. They're continuously losing money. And these people, if the miners can't make money, they will have to shut down or sell equipment or stay idle for a while. And then we have this problem here. The network difficulty. The network difficulty just went high. That just went higher here. Take a look. It even was higher than yesterday, so it actually even rose more. So take a look. the mining difficulty, as the mining difficulty rises, as more people will have to spend more time working the equation to mine a block. That's what it's all about. And it just went up incredibly high again just yesterday. 15.785, you know. Let's take a look at the all-time high. It dropped a little bit. But these numbers are not sustainable. Like I said, you know, the total hash rate. What happened to the hash rate? It's actually going down as well. So that means that effectively less people are mining Bitcoin. This was the all-time high, or was it? I guess this is still on the 1 year. But let's compare to the all-time highs. So, like we can see, it's already struggling. It peaked out. Even in here, it peaked out. It peaked here, it went down. It peaked here, it went down. That must have happened to the last stock market and Bitcoin crash. Look, it peaked out. It peaked out. Like I said, guys, these numbers are not good at all, especially these ones, because what the miners are interested are about the revenue, and the revenue is continuing to go down, and that is not a good thing into the Bitcoin economy. So besides of all the crap that we have right now, the Corona hoax, then we have the stock market that is about to crash. You know, take a look at the miners that are making Bitcoin. They're making less and less, so they have to shut down. All of this is no good news whatsoever, guys. That's the reality, and that's what I'm pointing to, because I'm not just about the technical analysis things, because the technical analysis, although it is kind of reliable, it only brings you so far. You have to take a look at the big picture. And for me, this is the big picture, and this is the reason why I don't believe that Bitcoin will go to all-time highs. And unfortunately, because if they can't fix their scalability issues, it will not survive on the long term. That's what I'm talking about. If Bitcoin doesn't have the capability to bring the American population and the world population into the dance, they will not make it, because the network can't deal with so much people and so many transactions. You have to understand that BTC blockchain is only able to do 7 transactions per second. If you want to onboard more people, it's not going to happen. And off-chain transactions are not going to fix it as well, because it's like I said, off-chain transactions has nothing to do with Bitcoin, has nothing to do with P2P, has nothing to do with blockchain. It's all about payment channels. No, man. Look, I'm not smoking ass. I'm not smoking ass. I'm not smoking from my ass, talking about that I'm against it, or that it's going down because it has to go down. No. There has to be a reasoning, and this is all my reasoning, man. All the economic data from the miners, from the world economy, from what's going on, the revenue that is happening to the miners, you know, it's not good news, guys. That's just the reality of all this. If these guys would be making money, if the mining revenue would be at all-time high, yeah, man, probably Bitcoin would be at around 50K already. But that is not the case, because the data is not saying that this will happen, guys. This is just, you know, although it is my opinion, I'm basing my opinion on what is really going on, not because I'm biased for it to go down. That's just it. Yeah. So you let me just take a look at what the people are saying here. Technical analysis isn't everything. There are fundamental sentiment, fear, greed, manipulation, trade, news, and many other things. You get the point. Yeah. That's basically what I'm trying to bring you, you know. Even in the news. And I talked about it as well, you know, Binance and Justin Tron, or Tron, you know, Poloniex, Bitfinex, now Bittrex, They all having lawsuits against them because of securities. They can't sell securities in the United States. You want to talk about more bad news? This is bad news. Because if Binance and these other cryptocurrency companies lose their lawsuits, or two things will happen. They will have to pay up, or they will have to shut down. Do you understand the repercussions of an exchange like Bitcoin shutting down? It's like Mt. Gox all over again. I don't know if you know knew what happened to Mt. Gox, but that's basically what another very bad scenario that we're actually talking about. So I got the fundamentals, the sentiment. Well, the sentiment. I believe that people are still greedy because most of the people in the crypto space are still believing that Bitcoin is going to 20K. Manipulation, yeah, manipulation still happens every day. The trade is part of the game. The news, well, the reality is that there hasn't been many news. What I have found recently is that Jamie Dimon, I guess, he talked about, or I don't know if it was J.P. Morgan or whatever, Yeah, well, I know one of the guys, one of the big investors, were saying that Bitcoin was going to all-time high. And once again, I'm finding that very suspicious because, so now suddenly about 2 or 3 years ago they were bearish, and even before that, Jamie Dimon was always bearish about Bitcoin, and Bitcoin was always going up. So now he changed his opinion and he's saying he's going to all-time highs, like Bobby Lee said a lot of times. And I'm very suspicious of that because I believe that these guys, that's what I think they have been doing. They are luring the people to buy into Bitcoin at the highs, like we're having around 10K, 9K. They will dump, they will dump the Bitcoin price to, like I believe, around 5K, maybe 2K, I don't know. And then these guys, they will buy the Bitcoin that you bought at the highs. That's what they do. That's what they always do. They always tell the people something different, and that's why I'm a contraindicator to that. I still remember the last time when Bitcoin went to 10K. Do you know what Bittrex was doing? Bittrex actually sent me, and I can show you that. Bittrex actually sent me an email advising me to buy Bitcoin. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, here it is. Here it is. Just see this. Just see this, guys. Look at what Bittrex did. So I'm a user from that. I haven't been using lately, but check this out. Before the halving, check this out. So here it is. Here it is. Bittrex Global. Great news. We have just increased our credit card deposit limits to $10,000 daily, weekly, and $50,000 a month. This is just in time for the Bitcoin halving, which will take place on May 12, 2020. Deposit more fiat with your Visa debit or credit card and trade today. So basically, they were incentivizing me to buy Bitcoin because of the halving, because they were giving me the illusion that after the halving the price would go up. And what happened? It topped out at around 10K, and then it dropped back right down. That's why I say you have to be a contraindicator to all of this, because these people, they will try to do anything. And besides of that, we have the crypto influencers that are moon boys, and they are saying that Bitcoin is going to all-time highs, and they are always repeating the same stuff over and over again. They only base themselves on technical analysis. They don't see at the fundamentals. They don't take a look at what is going on with the stock market. They don't know, or they don't look at what is happening in the world economy, the real world economy, besides of the stock market. So that's what it is. Your points are common sense and could not argue about it. Love to hear another opinion. Have to run to work. Take care, bro. Hope you are doing well there. Yeah. No, trying. It's like I said, guys. I'm not a guy here that is just going to blow off smoke from his ass just because I'm biased or I don't want cryptocurrency to succeed. Once again, guys, I'm a big BSV fan. I'm a big BSV guys because of big blocks, because of high transactions, because of scalability, and once again because of all this bad news, all this that is going on with the economy, man. I'm not even bullish about them because of all this. That is the reality, guys. There is, like I said, I can't even find just a little motive to be bullish about this, about Bitcoin or the markets or the economy. I can't find anything. I wish I could, but unfortunately, things are so fucking bad all over the world in the real economy. The markets are now catching up to the real economy. That's why they will crash, and I'm certain of it. Not because I can see in the future, but that always happened. Like I said, I'm a guy that likes to take a look at history, and I still remember the darkest period in the world economy, especially in the United States and in all over the world. It was the Great Depression in 1913. Black Friday, when even billionaires, man, killed themselves because they lost everything in a day or in a night. That happened. A lot of people got unemployed, and unfortunately, according to the data, according to what I'm seeing, what is happening right now in the world economy is even worse than what happened in 1913. Do you understand that? If the economic data is even worse than the Great Depression in 1913, it makes zero sense whatsoever that the market actually went to the highs that they did. In case of the Nasdaq, it went to all-time highs. It makes no sense. That makes no sense. So if it doesn't make any sense, despite of the economic environment that we're living worldwide, something will have to give. And what will have to give? The stock market will have to give. And that I'm sure of. You know, not because with any action there has to be an equal reaction. They have been pumping money to the stock market, but like I said, they can pump all the money. The Fed can pump all the money they want. It will only bring you so far, because we're still talking about Fibonacci. We're still talking about numbers, and there are limits. Even markets, they can stay manipulated for a long time, but eventually they have to find its equilibrium. That's how it works. The yin and the yang. It always works the same. It doesn't matter how long you can manipulate it. There will be a breaking point, and that breaking point has happened to the markets. So sooner or later, I believe that it will be actually sooner. The markets will dump, and unfortunately, it will bring Bitcoin with it, because, like I said, Bitcoin has its own problems with the economy. With the Bitcoin mining economy, is not doing well. It's doing actually the worst, and that's where I base my analysis on all this. It's not just about technical analysis. This is all great and beautiful, but like I said, I like to take a look at fundamentals as well. But in the immediate term, like I say, and like I see, especially right here, right now, Bitcoin is below this important trend line. If it continues down below this trend line, it will eventually dump. And now let's take a look at the stock market again. Let's take a look at the Dow Jones. Look, look. This is what's going on in the Dow Jones here. So the Dow Jones topped out in here, had the big dump, or kind of a big dump like Bitcoin had, recovered, tried to go above this resistance level. It didn't even reach it. Now it's following this trend line down. That's what I'm seeing, guys. This was a rising wedge. I was seeing a rising wedge in here, and now we're having the dump. Let's take a look at the futures. YM1. let's take a look at the futures. So this was the top in here. This was the top, and I didn't even make a trend line from the top here. I can do that as well. So let me draw a trend line. In this case, I will not go lower than this because I'm already following this. So let's make another trend line from the top to the bottom. So let's see it here. This is the trend line. This is the trend line. Yeah. If you are any logic person and you take a look at this and you just understand that the stock market has been in a parabolic move for the last I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 months, I guess so. Let me remove this stuff in here. Right? So stock market crashed. It recovered very quickly, very quickly. So this was the top. This was the top, and now it's time to correct. And this is the trend line that I'm drawing in here. So once again, I ask you guys that are watching the stream, do you see anything bullish about this? So we got topped out in the top. Do you see anything bullish about it? I'm not seeing it. And when I connect the technical analysis, the economy, and everything else, I don't see the stock market going to all-time highs, because that is what would mean for Bitcoin to go to all-time highs as well. I don't see the stock market going to all-time highs if they just went from a massive recovery from this last dump. I'm not seeing it, guys. And we can take a look at the same chart with BTC as well. We just have to find a little bit of logic in all this as well, because this was the dump, guys. This was the dump. This was the dump when the stock market dumped. So now we're approaching the peak in here. Went here. Let me take a look. We went in here. We had the highest high, and we have been failing to do so. But we are starting to make lower lows. Lower low. Look. Let me remove all this noise again. So this was the higher high. It was high. It went to 1072. Then it went to 10420, and ever since we have not been able to make it. We made lower low, lower low, lower low. If we can't get above this line here, we can't even get above this here. It's not bullish. Look. This was the top. This was the top. Just take a look at it in here as well. So it corrected. It corrected from the 3,900 or 800. Corrected from there. It stopped out, like we can actually start to see in here. I can actually do another little trend line in here as well. This. I will remove it. I just want to make it clear. So basically, we can do that. What is this? In regards of technical analysis itself, what is this? It is a rising wedge. It is a rising wedge. So once again, man, this is also a rising wedge, or a rising flag. It's going up, like in here. It was going up a lot, and then we can do the inverse. We can do the inverse in here as well. Look, it dumped very hard, right? It dumped like hell. So it dumped a lot. So after that dump, it's actually a broadening wedge if you actually take a look at it. But I don't want to do it like that. So right, it dropped very hard. Generally, it drops even harder than it goes up. Right? This was a hard dump, so it recovered, and now we're at the tipping points again, where I don't believe there is any way to rise again because this was the bottom, and around here was the top. That's just that's just what I'm talking about here. I'm not making any outrageous claims in here. I'm just pointing out to the obvious, man. It's topped out. It looks like it's topped out. The stock market is definitely topped out. So I can't see it, man. I can't see it. All these indicators, all these indicators are bearish indicators. Every single one of them. The economic news are all bearish in the world economy, in the Bitcoin mining economy. It's all bearish. So I don't know, man. I don't know where I shall take the good news from all of this. I don't see it. Once again, guys, I'm not seeing it. I saw something, but I can't. I'm not seeing anything. And yeah, that's what I want to leave you with. I'm not going to continue to beat a dead horse. I guess I already did that for about almost an hour. But yeah, guys, this is what's going on. And once again, Bitcoin is once again failing to go above this red line here. So this trend line. So if Bitcoin is not able to go above this trend line, it will continue to dump. And unfortunately, that is also happening on the stock market itself. The stock market is looking very, very bearish. Look at the trend lines. The trend is your friend, like they say. Not all the times. Look at the futures. This is what's going on. This is the reality of all this. The reality of the charts with the reality of the economic data. Both in the real economy, in the world economy, and in the Bitcoin mining industry. This is what's going on. But yeah, you have to make your own opinion. Like I said, guys, although I am a little bit biased, at least I'm trying to do my research, and I'm sharing that with you. But I do that for myself to try to see and to try to understand if I'm making the right decision to be bearish. And like I said, after watching the data over and over again, the economical data, now the stock market, or what's some news that have been appearing on the stock market, they look all very nice and beautiful, but we have to understand, half of the United States economy still haven't recovered in full. Many people are still not working. 40 million unemployed. Many of the numbers that are embellished right now, that comes from the companies, they don't mean anything because the economy is not running at its capacity. So, like I said, guys, I don't trust it. There's too much bearish news going on, too much bearish economy, real world economy, the unemployment. Do you really believe it's only just 40 million Americans that are actually out of the workforce? What is the data all around the world? So Trump is giving money to people away. I believe they will have to pay it back, right? Nothing is for free in this world. At least I never had that. Nothing ever was ever for free. That's what I'm talking about, you know. So I don't buy all this positivity. And once again, yeah, after all this, because let's understand this. If this if this cerveza bug pandemic wasn't a thing, yeah, the world economy were in bad shape, but nothing like this. So Bitcoin could actually be bullish. I could actually be bullish about Bitcoin because of all that. But with all this that is actually going on, there is no way that I can be bullish about anything in the market. It doesn't matter if it is digital, if it is stock, if it is whatever it is. I'm not bullish about it because with all this sentiment, only the markets seem to be euphoric. You know, people in their real lives are struggling. They're not spending money because they're afraid. They're afraid of a second cerveza bug outbreak. They're fearful because they don't know how the economy will be tomorrow or the next year. So they're not spending a lot of money unless they have to. If a second outbreak comes, yeah, they will run to the stores and will buy the toilet papers again and everything else. That's what I'm seeing. People are fearful. They want to see what is happening with the economy. They're not spending a lot of money. You know, people want to have cash. That's the reality. I don't like fiat currency as anybody else in the crypto space, but people rather have cash at hand because they don't know what is going on. They are uncertain to what the future will bring. That's the reality. And once again, if we would be able to buy food and normal stuff in real life with Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies, it would be great. That is not the case anymore. Bitcoin has 11 years. It hasn't been able to mass adopt because of the reasons that already gave. You know, that is the reality. If you could buy your guns and your ammunition and food and pay your taxes and everything like that with Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, we wouldn't have this discussion right now, and Bitcoin would be thriving, and cryptocurrency would be thriving. That is not the case. Bitcoin had 11 years. You see what I'm saying with this? That's the reality, guys. But it is what it is, and people will take it for what they believe. So that's what I think. Yeah, we're seeing that BTC is struggling right now. Let me take a look at the stock market once again before I wrap up. So the YN1. So let me take a look at the DJI. Yeah, guys. No, you're taking a look at what I look. You know, I just see things going down. I see trend lines going down. You know, that's not a good thing, right? This was great, right? This was great. This is not great. This is not great. This was great here. This is great. When Bitcoin is above here, this is great. Or here, this is great. Below this trend line, it's not good. Not good. This is not good. This is good. When it stays here, it goes below, this is not good. That's, you want logic? This is logic for you. Logic that anybody can understand. So, yeah, guys, that's my 50 cents about the whole space, from what I see, from what I can understand, because what I can do very well is process information, because I take a look at different data, because once again, not even the fundamentals mean much, you know, because you may have the best fundamentals to say that something is going to dump, but then the charts and the technical analysis tells you otherwise, like it did in the stock market, you know. Everything was clearly going down and everything is bad, but still the stock market went up and up and up until it topped out, you know. Fundamentals doesn't help you in that case anyway. The only thing that helps you is technical analysis in when the fundamentals are not flawed, but the market is not responding to it, you know. And the charts were telling us a different story. The charts were telling us, yeah, that despite all the madness that is actually going on in the world economy, everything was going up, like in here. So it was up, it was up, it was up, it was up. Although Bitcoin had nothing to do with its stock market, but once again, once the stock market started to dump, so did Bitcoin, and this is the reality, you know. Like many people believe, you know, Bitcoin is not unrelated to the stock market. Quite quite the contrary, as we can see here. Seeing the difference between Bitcoin and the stock market. Besides all the economic data that I talked about before, so that's it, guys. I'm going to wrap it up. I don't want to repeat myself because at this point that is what I'm going to do, because I'm trying to see something different than what I'm seeing, but I can't find it. So I will have to repeat myself over and over again. So because I want to avoid that, I'm going to wrap it up, and I'm going to say I'm the coin, and I'm out.